Hawkins here with Chickenhawkfarmstead, and today we're back with another good one. I got an area that I want to do some alfalfa on this year. Just a little bit, you know, give the pigs out there, wherever they are. The pigs and the goats and stuff. A little bit something to eat. I'm going to try out a mini baler that I'm going to build myself and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, my father-in-law's over there. He's back over here, got this big old farm. He's got the big old tractors. I got my little RK25. He's got the big hay balers that are like, you know, it makes the bales that I can't lift with this thing. You know, he's got the tether. He's got all the hay and stuff, we should say. I want to see if we can do it on a small scale. I've been looking at some of those little mini balers and stuff, and the rakers and all that. Man, you're looking at 10 to 15,000. You know, new to get into all that stuff. And the only way to really buy them right now is new, because, especially the mini balers, because of the fact that they're new. I mean, it's not something that's been out for a while, so they're not really a big secondary market for it yet. If it is, it's probably going to be definitely someone else's trouble, not because somebody loves upgrading. So, first step is getting that ground worked up so we can get some alfalfa seed up the, you know, give it the advantage we need to give it. And I was watching some videos last night because I got my tiller and I want to go till that area where I want to put it, but I don't know if there's some big old rocks, big old roots, things like that, because the ground hasn't been tilled, plowed, or disc, and I don't know how long, if ever. You know, it's just been a hay field, so I don't know if they ever really did it. So, instead of me going out there with my tiller and screwing up my tiller, first thing we're going to do is a two-bottom plow, two-toe plow, whatever it's called. Picked that thing up years ago for my bigger tractor, and I've only used it, I think, once or twice. The ideas I had for it, just never got around to using them and stuff. But anyways, I want to see if this little RK25 has the ass to pull that thing. Because if I can, you know, go ahead and get through there and plow the land all up, flip it all over, I know it should be rock free. We'll walk it after that. And then I can plow it, get a nice little surface, put my seed down, pack my seed, see what happens. Seed, what happens, you get it. So, anyways, so you can take a look at it real quick. We do have that saw hooked up. I got the hydraulic top link up there, so that way I can do some adjusting if I need to, because I'm thinking I might need to tilt it up a little bit just to keep it from sinking too low, because I know, I mean, this thing, I know for a fact, can stop this thing in its tracks. So we need to find that level, because when I till, you know, we're only going down 3 or 4 inches maybe. Like I said, if I can go ahead and get that hard, because we do have some really hard packed clay here. If I can go ahead and get that ripped up. I went out there the other day in the same area with, what was I using? I had the grapple on the front, and it's one of those root grapples, little finger things or whatever. And there's blades on the bottom about that deep, and I was, you know, basically scarifying and scratching up the surface to see if anything was down there. I didn't really want anything there, but it didn't get nearly as deep as I want. My other idea was a box blade with the shanks on it, but I know it's going to have the same issues with stopping it. And after watching a few videos, I saw a guy, he had a John Deere or something. It's like a 37 horsepower tractor, but the frame was small. You know, it was still a not a subcompact, but it was like a compact. I think it says Series 2 or something. And I'm like, there ain't no way that thing can't pull if you do things right. But I mean, I could be completely wrong, you know. And you know, he's like, well, I don't consider a tractor being able to use an implement unless you can just drop it all the way to the ground and just go. Well, I guarantee you that thing in the right soil and probably not even that hard of conditions to make, even my big old 50 horsepower Massey Ferguson is gonna get stopped by this thing. You know, especially if you're just sinking that thing way down in some fresh soil. Yeah, so there's that. So, you know, I'm only gonna be dropping this down a little bit, and we're gonna see how she works. I'm very intrigued to see how this works. So I may not even put in the bottom. If you just want to jump straight to that spot, you don't have to listen to me talk. But we're going to go set the tripod down there in the area. We're going to drop this in, see what happens, see if we can actually plow with an RK25. All right, let's find out if this little tractor can get the job done. Well, there we are. So the answer is yes. Because I don't care who you are, that's plowed. Is it plowed perfect? Probably not. Is it plowed as deep as possibly you can go? No. But know what you want to do with it. This tractor wasn't designed to run a 2-bottom plow at 12 inches. You know, thinking you can, well, that's not the smartest thing to think. But we can obviously see it cut through, it flipped it. It did take some setting up and some figuring out. That's one of my last passes here. You can see that's every bit of 4 or 5 inches of the surface that it's scraping and flipping. And that's really what you want to do with your plowing. It is to get that grass flipped over, to kill off the grass in your area. And I mean, I don't know about you, I'm not gardening in this. You know, that's not gardenable area. But it is at least chopped up. And now, I got more to do. I just want to stop the video here. But now with this, we can go through and, you know, identify if we have any problem spots or any rocks or anything that might mess up our tiller. So I can get the kids out here. See that big old rock right there? That's going to suck hitting that tiller blades. You know, get that out of there. Look at these roots. Snap these. That's a, good Lord. That's a, I don't even know what that's the root to. But you can see that's a big old chunky root. It went ahead and cut it up. You know, so we can walk through here now, get all this stuff out of our field. There's another. Get all these rocks out before we damage our plow or our tiller up. So that tiller I think was like $2 grand. I paid that thing. I bought it years ago, and it was like 150 bucks or something. I guarantee you can find them all day under 300 because a lot of people don't use them, especially a 2-bottom plow. You know, they got the 4, the 5, the 6s and stuff. But yeah, I think this did a really outstanding job. I know it's not perfect. You can see here, it's a lot more shallow. That's because of how the land's shaped. You know, we got hills and ups and downs and stuff like that. But it gives me a good starting point. And that's all I wanted, something to break that surface, get that first little bit out of the way. Look at that big old rock we flipped over. You know, get it out of the way so we can actually start working this land. And I don't like plowing. You know, it's not something I really want to do to my soil because you do get erosion, you get all kinds of stuff. But sometimes when you're establishing an area, it might be something you want to do. And like I said, I'm planning on establishing this for some alfalfa. So, you know, that's going to be, this area is going to have alfalfa growing it for the next 4 or 5 years. And even after that, I don't have to necessarily plow it or till it again. But if I'm wanting to do a crop from seed and you want to give it the best chance, you're going to need to do something. You know, some kind of soil disturbance usually to either get the seed in. And a no-till drill, okay, yeah, those are awesome again. How much does that thing cost? You know, I plan on broadcasting and packing this stuff down. My father-in-law has a no-till drill. I could easily go get that. But what benefit is that to the people that don't have those assets? And that's some of the reasons I do what I do. To prove it can be done without certain things. You know, like I always hate when you see somebody building something. You're like, oh, so simple, build in 5 minutes. And then they break out a welder. I'm sorry, guys, I don't weld. You know, I work with wood. You know, everybody's got their little specialties on that. So as soon as I see welding, I know I'm kind of out the door. It's a skill I plan on learning. I got a welder and all that kind of stuff. But it's, you know, that's something I got to learn in the future. I don't know now. So try to keep some things as easy as possible. I'm actually really impressed. And once I learned about where to set that depth gauge, you know, the depth of the blade and kind of, you know, the angle and all that stuff, you got to take some time, work with that, and I'll get a whole lot better. But yeah, I am not going to lie. I thought it was going to do a lot worse than this. I knew we were big, it's something done, but I did not think that we would get these kind of results. So I'm extremely happy. I hope this helps answer the question of can you do it? And, you know, how good is it? Because like I said, this is a lot better than what I was going to be working with, which is raw ground. So I'd rather be able to plow this or till this after plowing it, like I said, and save the other equipment that's more expensive. You know, it's going to be time consuming. It is what it is. So there you go. Have a good day. I hope that, like I said, opens some questions. Like and subscribe, come back, because who knows what next I'm going to see if I can get thrown on this thing. And I've been impressed with it, like I said, but it can only do what it can do. There's a reason why they're you know, the hobby farmer or whatever you want to call it kind of tractor. And if you want to be farming big time, you get something like my father-in-law, 100 horsepower, something like that. But, you know, you're going to be paying as much as you did for your house dang near for that. All right. Later.